Hi everybody, I'm doing this really quickly and I'm going to be reading a little bit from Chapter 2 in 20 Boy Summer by Sarah Ockler, and for the Excerpt blog, professionally was YA. Chapter 1 is really short. I don't know if I should read it or not. Might as well. Let's go ahead and get started. Chapter 1. Frankie Perino and I were lucky that day. Lucky to be alive, that's what everyone said. I got a fractured wrist and a banged up knee, and my best friend Frankie got a fat little scar above her left eye, breaking her eyebrow into two reflective arches, up one side, down the other. Happy, sad, shock, awe, before, after. Before, all of us were lucky. After, only me and Frankie. That's what everyone said. Chapter 2. It was just over a year ago. 12 months, 9 days, and 6 hours ago, actually. But 13 months ago, everything was perfect. I closed my eyes, leaned over my candles, and prayed to the cake fairy or the god of birthdays or whoever was in charge that Matt Perino, Frankie's brother and my best friend that's a boy, would finally kiss me. It was the same secret wish I'd made every year since Frankie and I were 10 and Matt was 12 when I accidentally fell in love with him. Frankie, Matt, and their parents, Uncle Red and Aunt Jane, even though we're not related, celebrated my 15th birthday in our backyard with Mom and Dad, just like always. When all the singing and clapping and candle blowing stopped, I opened my eyes. Matt was right next to me, beside me, sharing the same air. Mischievous. The back of my neck went hot and prickly when I smelled his apple shampoo, the kind from the green bottle he stole from Frankie's bathroom because he liked how it made his hair look. And for one charged up second, I thought my birthday wish might finally come true, right there in front of everyone. I didn't even have time to think about how embarrassing that might be when Matt's hand, full of birthday cake, arched from behind his back on a not so slow motion trajectory right into my face. While cake on my face was clearly progress from the previous year's Super Bowl coach-style shook-up soda over the head, something in the wish translation was still getting lost as it blew across my candles into the sky. I made a mental note to clarify my demands next year in bullet points with irrefutable examples from Hollywood classics and screamed, shoving both hands into the mangled confection on the picnic table. I scooped out two giant corners overloaded with fake frosting flowers. Then I charged. I lunged. I ran. I chased Matt around the yard in laps until he dropped to the ground and wrestled the extra pieces from me, grinding them into my face like a mud mask. We went at it for 10 minutes, laughing and rolling around in the grass, Frankie and our parents cheering and howling and throwing more cake into the ring, candles and all. When we finally came out for air, there wasn't much cake left, and the two of us were coated head to toe in blue rainbow chip frosting. We stood up slowly, laughing with our mouths open as we half-heartedly called a truce. Dad snapped a picture, Matt's arms around my shoulders, bits of cake and colored chips and grass clinging to our clothes and hair, everything warm and pink in the glow of the setting sun, the whole summer stretched out before us. It didn't even matter that Matt was going to college in the fall. He'd be at Cornell studying American literature, just over an hour away, and they'd already started talking about my and Frankie's weekend visits. When the novelty of the birthday cake and wrestling match finally faded, Matt and I went inside to clean up. Beyond the sliding deck door, shielded in the cool dark of the house from everyone out back, we stood in front of the kitchen sink, not saying anything. I stared at him in a sideways kind of way that I hoped didn't expose the secret thoughts in my head, thoughts that, despite my best efforts to contain them, went further than I'd ever let them go before. His messy black hair and bright blue eyes cast a spell on me, muffling the chatter outside as if he'd been dunked under water. I held out a sticky hand and threatened him with another gob of frosting in an attempt to break the silence, afraid he'd hear my heart pounding under my t-shirt. Thump thump, thump thump, thump thump thump. Matt scooped some frosting from my outstretched hand and moved to close the space that separated us, changing absolutely everything that ever was or wasn't between us with a single raised eyebrow. Anna, he said, dragging his frosted fingers through my hair. Don't you know what it means when a boy pulls your hair at your birthday party? No. Just then I didn't know what anything meant. I couldn't remember how we'd arrived in the kitchen, why we were so covered in cake, why my best friend that's a boy was looking at me so differently, or even what my name was. I bit my lower lip to prevent my mouth from saying something lame without my brain's permission, like, "Oh, Matt, all my wishes have come true." I felt the stupidity rising in my throat and bit down harder, staring at his collarbone and the small piece of blue sea glass he wore on a leather cord around his neck, rising and falling. Rising, falling. Seconds, hours, I didn't know. He'd made the necklace the year before from a triangular piece of glass he'd found during their family vacation to Zanzibar Bay, right in front of the California beach house they rented for 3 weeks every summer. According to Matt, red glass was the rarest, followed by purple, then dark blue. To date, he'd found only one red piece, which he'd made into a bracelet for Frankie a few months earlier. She never took it off. I loved all the colors, dark greens, baby blues, aquas, and whites. Frankie and Matt brought them back for me in mason jars every summer. They lived silently on my bookshelf, like frozen pieces of the ocean I had never seen. Come here, he whispered, his hand still stuck in my wild curls, blonde hair winding around his fingers. I still can't believe you made that, I said, not for the first time. It's so cool. Matt looked out of the glass, his hair falling in front of his eyes. Maybe I'll give it to you, he said, if you're lucky. I smiled, my gaze fixed on the blue triangle. I was afraid to look at him, because if I let my eyes lock on his, he might try to, and then everything would be, and I might just... Happy birthday, he whispered, his breath landing warm and suddenly close to my lips, making my insides flip. And just as quickly as he'd surprised me with a cake, he kissed me, one frosting-covered hand moving gently from my hair to the back of my neck, the other solid and warm in the small of my back, pressing us together, my chest against his ribs, my hip bones just below his, the tops of our bare summer legs hot and touching. I stopped breathing. My eyes were closed and his mouth tasted like marzipan flowers and clove cigarettes. And in 10 seconds, the whole of my life was wrapped up in that one kiss, that one wish, that one secret that would forever divide my life into 2 parts. Up, down, happy, sad, shock, awe, before, after. I'm going to stop here for just a second and see how much time I have. Oh, I'm doing pretty well. 6.5 minutes. Okay. In that single moment, Matt, formerly known as friend, became something else entirely. I kissed him back. I forgot time. I forgot my feet. I forgot the people outside waiting for us to rejoin the party. I forgot what happens when friends cross into the space. And if my lungs didn't fill and my heart didn't beat and my blood didn't pump without my intervention, I would have forgotten about them too. I could have stayed like that all night, standing in front of the sink, Matt's black apple hair brushing my cheeks, heart thumping, lucky and forgetful. What's taking so long? Frankie asked, running up the deck stairs outside. Come on, Anna. Presents. I pulled away from Matt just before she pressed her face against the screen to peek inside. Yeah, birthday girl, Matt mocked. What's taking so long? Be right out, Frank. I gave Matt my don't you dare face. I just need to change. Can I come? Matt whispered against my neck, causing a shiver, or an earthquake. I suddenly remembered all the baths we'd taken together as little kids before we got old enough for it to be dangerous. The memories seemed different now, more vulnerable, raw. My face went hot and I had to look away. So, Matt teased, pinching my arm as Frankie headed back to the picnic table. So you're lucky Frankie didn't see that, I said, not sure I meant it. And you have to go change your own shirt in your own room. I mean, over... Matt grabbed my hand and pulled me in tight for another kiss, his other hand on my cheek, quick and intense. He pressed his body against mine in the same configuration of hip bones, stomachs, and ribs as the first time. I pressed back, wanting to wrap myself around him, anchor myself to him. It was all that kept me from floating away like a tiny iridescent bubble. Do you think she saw us? I asked when we finally stopped. Nah, he laughed, still holding my hand. Don't worry, it's our secret. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there, and I really hope you go check this out. It's in bookstores right now, and yeah, go check it out. Go buy it. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you guys for the other Fresh New Voice of YA stuff happening this week. Alright? Bye.